been a smoky day across much of KELOLAND, and unfortunately that's not going to be going anywhere as we head into the short term. Tonight, we'll call it partly to mostly clear overall. Could see a few isolated showers and thunderstorms out to the west. Lows will be mainly in the 40s to the east, either side of 50 though once you head west river. Another smoky day tomorrow. A chance for some showers and thunderstorms out west especially. Highs will be mainly in the 70s. We'll talk about the rest of your forecast coming up, but until then, First at 4 starts right now.
Live from KELOLAND Media Group. KELOLAND News, first at 4.
Coming up, what led to a wet road in downtown Sioux Falls today?
Plus, an air quality alert has been issued in several states, including South Dakota. We have a look at some hazy conditions.
And we're going to hear from an Iowa farmer thankful for the rain despite the delays to planting. Good afternoon, and thanks for tuning in to First at 4. I'm Don Jorgensen.
And I'm Kelly Volk. A man who wanted to be mayor of Sioux Falls found himself back in court today. David Zakaitis is accused of violating a protection order. The charge comes just 3 weeks after Zakaitis was accused of assaulting a woman and interfering with emergency communication.
Today in court, the judge decided to release Zakaitis without making him pay bond. When he was told not to have contact with the alleged victim, Zakaitis responded saying, quote, "I do not wish to have any contact with her. I hope she stays far away," end quote. Zakaitis has run for mayor twice and most recently ran for a seat on the Sioux Falls City Council. A New Underwood man will spend over a decade behind bars for a deadly shooting. A judge sentenced 30-year-old William Hopkins to 16 years behind bars for second-degree manslaughter. In November of 2022, Hopkins shot and killed 28-year-old John Walter II while cleaning a gun. Hopkins then told someone to get rid of the gun and asked them to tell law enforcement that another person shot Walter.
Crews responded to a water main break in downtown Sioux Falls today. Our KELOLAND news crew captured this video at the 12th Street Plaza. You can see the water gushing from the ground, washing on the sidewalk and into the street. The city says it was a private water main break. Crews shut off the water and are working to fix it.
Well, water has been the word for a few days around here.
Yeah, more rain again last night.
Yeah, unfortunately, more rain on the way as we go into the midweek outlook. But for now, we're doing pretty well across a large majority of KELOLAND. You've been mainly dry. East River, albeit it hasn't been the greatest day to be outside due to poor air quality concerns, but we do have one little thunderstorm out there. It is out to the south and west as we look at a live Doppler radar. And you can see those storms starting to bubble up. We'll actually zoom in a little bit and take a look at what we're seeing. This is near and southeast of Custer, near Hill City as well. A sub-severe in intensity, but some gusty winds not out of the question with any of these storms that are coming up and that are basically terrain driven. You notice they're basically sequestered to the Black Hills. But here in Sioux Falls, yeah, we haven't had to worry about any thunderstorms. We've had to worry about poor air quality, though. Notice that milky sky above due to all that smoke in the lower atmosphere. 74, north wind at 6 miles per hour. Take the smoke out of the equation. It's been a fantastic day to be outside, but we've had to deal with that. And it doesn't matter what side of the river you're on, east or west. They're also dealing with the same thing out in Rapid City. 76, a southerly breeze at 11 miles per hour. And while they have actual clouds in the air above, they also still have that smoke hanging around. Temperatures holding in the 70s, including 75 for Mitchell, Chamberlain, and Huron, 69 degrees in Brookings, Watertown, 67, 73 Aberdeen and Faith, but leading the way and by a decent margin. That's up in Buffalo, 81 in Harding County, 75 for Spearfish, 76 as you go down toward Pine Ridge. And as we get ready for your day tomorrow, yeah, another round of smoke that we're going to have to deal with. But beyond that, it'll be filtered sunshine again with highs mainly in the low to mid 70s. So keep this in mind if you have any outdoor plans tomorrow. We'll be mainly dry by day for northeastern KELOLAND as well, highs in the mid-70s. 70s and 60s, though, out to the west with a better chance for scattered showers and thunderstorms that will gradually migrate eastward overnight. We'll talk about the rest of your 7-day forecast as we head through the hour.
All right, thanks, Adam. Due to smoke from Canadian wildfires, there's an air quality alert in some parts of South Dakota. The Department of Ag and Natural Resources says that the smoke may cause low visibility along with some health problems. Young children, the elderly, and people with respiratory problems are the most susceptible to the smoke. According to the Air Quality Index, Sioux Falls, Brookings, and Watertown are unhealthy for sensitive groups. The alert is in effect through tomorrow or until conditions improve. Meanwhile, Minnesota's Pollution Control Agency issued an air quality alert for much of the state, including the Twin Cities. Winds pushed a band of heavy smoke from the wildfires burning in British Columbia, south from Canada. The Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources issued a similar alert for the eastern part of the state. People with lung or heart disease and other sensitivities were advised to avoid heavy outdoor exertion.
A longtime Iowa farmer says he's thankful for the recent rain, despite the delays it has caused for spring planting. Ophelia Jacobson with our CBS affiliate in Des Moines explains.
We farm around 6,000 acres.
Mike Brelsford has been farming for close to 50 years. His primary crops are corn and soybeans.
They're field cultivators, so they're just prepping the ground. You have to get it loose and get it turned over.
Mike is no stranger to spring planting, but recent rain has put a temporary stop to his operations this year.
We've had about 3.5 inches over the last 2 weeks, so we've been out 17 days. We just got back in today.
Despite those delays, Mike says he'll be able to finish planting in time, and he says the rain actually helped his crops this year.
It's been great rain. It's come in this area, it's come so slow. It's all soaked in, so we've never been ponded up with ponds.
Mike says the moisture will be needed come late summer. He says he feels pretty fortunate with what they've gotten in terms of rain.
I wouldn't say the drought is over, but it's certainly a good start on remedying the problem we've had the last 3 years.
KCCI reached out to the Iowa Farmers Union to ask how conditions have been affecting other farmers across the state. President Aaron Lehman says they've been under a lot of stress. He says, quote, considering that Iowa farmers have recently endured the longest drought since the 1950s, the recent rains have been welcome. But now farmers are anxious to get back in the fields to resume planting.
We have to put up with these delays and continue on.
And continuing on is exactly what Mike did Sunday, getting back in the fields to finish planting the rest of his land, 300 acres of soybeans to be exact.
I don't think there's any farmers that's complaining that they're not done planting, because if you don't have rain, you don't have much potential for a crop. So we have to have rain.
In Woodward, Ophelia Jacobson, KCCI 8 News, Iowa's news leader.
A new report on the Israel-Hamas war published by the Biden administration is drawing fire from both sides of the aisle. That report concludes that Israel likely violated international humanitarian law, but U.S. officials can't be sure. Washington correspondent Trevor Shirley is in D.C. with more.
That report was released on Friday and throughout the weekend continued to get pushback from both lawmakers and administration officials. The report found likely evidence Israel breached international protections for civilians as it carries out its war in Gaza against Hamas.
It's reasonable to conclude that there are instances where Israel has acted in ways that are not consistent with international humanitarian law.
However, U.S. officials could not link specific weapons to individual attacks by Israeli forces. That caveat could give the U.S. some future leeway in deciding how and to what extent to supply Israel with more weapons.
We continue to look at, investigate each of these incidents, but critically, so does Israel.
Already, some lawmakers say Israel should be held to account, with further weapons shipments conditioned on whether it follows international laws.
I think any objective observer knows Israel has broken international law. It has broken American law. And in my view, Israel should not be receiving another nickel in U.S. military aid.
But others instead pointing the finger only at Hamas.
Well, I think it's impossible to mitigate civilian deaths in Gaza as long as Hamas uses their own population as human shields. I've never seen in the history of warfare such blatant efforts by an enemy, Hamas, to put civilians at risk.
The administration was compelled to create and then release that report by congressional Democrats. Reporting in Washington, I'm Trevor Shirley.